so I apologize. Very sparkly. So good morning, everyone. I am Sonia Doing. I'm an award-winning author and best-selling Amazon author. And when I first wrote my novel here in Fat Pipe, I was inspired by being surrounded by entrepreneurs and by 1 Million Cups to start my own businesses to help solve problems for writers. And so my first company out the door was Plot Duckies, and that was just an event business for all writers. And now we are a publishing company. So it's Plot Duckies Publishing, and we publish books for, publish books with strong female characters. And I think there's a lot to be said for niching down. That's something I've learned definitely over the years. You hear it a lot. And you'll kind of see that through this process that I've gone through to create Women's Thriller Writers Association. But a little bit about niching down. This is a definition. But if you want an example, let's say you're creating an app to tell people when the avocados are ripe at the grocery stores, which, by the way, I would love. But your advertising or your target market is all of Albuquerque, which is going to be too difficult, right? You can't advertise to everyone, or you're not going to get anyone into what you're working on. But if you advertise to, say, women ages 30 to 45 who own a car, who live a healthy lifestyle and love avocados, then you're more likely to hit your target, right? So that's what niching down is. And so a lot of my ideas about niching down came during the pandemic. I was talking with a lot of women at conferences, virtual conferences, and these conversations, it was interesting because they came around naturally. I wasn't searching for anything, but a lot of women were talking about how they were frustrated with spy novels, sci-fi novels. They pick up a book and the woman's character would just basically have no arc of her own, right? She's only there for the male story arc. And so, and those frustrations made me think of how hard it was to publish my own book back in 2014. And I'll get more on that in a second. But at the same time, creative startups had their libraries as launchpads program, and I was lucky enough to get in. And during that program, I got to research. And at that time, I spoke and connected with almost 300 writers and found out that their main concern at that point was being creative after the pandemic kind of sucked it out of us, right? So a lot of information I gathered. And then I published my website with a single page about membership focused on creativity and why we're needed. So I'll tell you that since I published that page without advertising, I get at least 1 member every month without any work. I mean, they're basically searching for what I do, finding me and joining. So I know we're needed because of that. The other reason we're needed is because of the problem of publishing gatekeepers. So in 2014, when I tried to publish my first book, I was so excited. I went to a conference and I had specifically had some meetings with a group of agents, and I was so sure one of them was going to take my book. Even before I went to meet them, I'm in the lobby and there was a woman sitting next to me, and I'm like, can I test my elevator pitch on you? And she said, absolutely. And so I tested it on her. She said, that book sounds amazing. I'm a young adult publisher. I will take it right now if it's young adult. And unfortunately, it was not young adult. I almost considered rewriting it, but it was just too much work. But I was so excited, though, because that gave me hope for the meeting with the agents. So I sit in the meeting with the agents. It's such an opposite reaction, right? These were all male agents. None of them wanted the book. Not only that, one of them told me no one would read it because it's an adventure story with a main female character. And so I was so disheartened and disappointed and disillusioned. I walked away from that conference and I put my book aside for more than a year. I don't think I even had an intention to ever publish at that point. And then something happened after that year and I finally decided to go ahead and publish. And I'm so glad I did, right? My book has got lots of great ratings. People buy the book. People love the book. Not only that, book 3 in the series has won multiple awards and it just got nominated for another. So screw those agents. But anyway, but I also want to tell you, and that was back in 2014. You think things might have changed, but just last year in August, I went to the same conference. I met a woman who was a panelist, and I was excited about her book. Her book is a main female character who is a sniper. And I was like, yes, this sounds really cool. And she was excited to go meet some agents. And then later on that day, I saw her, and she had that look on her face, just like I felt in 2014. So I had to go up to her and I said, what happened? And she said, well, no one wanted the book. And one agent told me that it wouldn't work because a woman can't use the sniper rifle, which is total BS. So, but right, we as writers look at agents as gatekeepers, as authority, and we need to stop that. The other problem is I was at a conference in New York City just last month, and the panel was talking about how if your book isn't good enough to get through traditional publishing, then there's a problem with the book. But that's not true. The problem is with the gatekeepers with our books, right? So, and I got up and told them that, by the way. It's not working.
Sometimes when I.
There we go. Okay, cool. So how do we as a company make money? So first of all, memberships for $15 a month, members get access to a dashboard with additional information. They also get a free book from me and a weekly meeting where we as a group come together. They can also claim a meeting. So like this week, we're going to review someone's book who's going to be published in the future. So giving her some feedback. And I also offer consulting for people who need more time with me. Maybe they need help figuring out the outline of their story. And I have classes. So I have a asynchronous self-publishing course that I launched last month. I do events. So I have the short storyathon, which is a weekend event. It's crazy, but we start writing on Friday. We publish on Sunday. And many authors, I'd say about 90%, come out as best-selling authors at the end of the event. And I also have a writer store with like t-shirts and things like that. My next things I'm working on, I am this close to some funnels. So basically when I talk about funnels, I mean offering something for free that really helps writers. And then they see other things that I'm offering. So when they get to the thank you page, it says, thank you for getting this free offer. These are the other things I have. So, so in other words, kind of advertising, but doing it for free. And then next week I have RollerCon. So I'll have a table at the Roller Derby conference in Vegas and selling books and advertising the association. And I'm also coming out with a podcast and a little bit about the podcast. Whoops, sorry. No, you're fine. That's a terrible picture up large, but anyway. So it's called The 5-Minute Author, and it's based along the books that I have. So I have 2 books, The 5-Minute Author, How to Write a Novel, and How to Self-Publish. And the idea is each chapter is 5 minutes long to read, and then the reader goes and does their homework. And so the podcast is going to be a bit different than what you normally hear from podcasts. It's also going to be 5 minutes long, not including the intro or the outro. And I'm basically just covering little subjects in writing, like how to watch out for the shysters, the types of publishing, like self-publishing, traditional, vanity. So little tidbits in each 5-minute segment. And then my challenge is obviously getting it all done because I've got a lot going on. But at this point, I can't hire anyone yet. So just basically focusing on getting the funnels done and maybe looking at advertising. But I would love any feedback on a podcast tagline. I wrote this last one last night after practicing my presentation and how angry I am about traditional publishing. But yeah, these are different options for my taglines. And that's what I got today.
If you're going to ask a question, just form a line. Please introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself. I'm Paul Sauter, founder and chief scientific officer of Equiseek. We develop and sell genetic testing courses. So Sonia,
Yeah.
I can't help thinking of all the rebels that got started and then got bought out by the big guys, right? So this is a standard story in rock and roll. So I want to ask you about where you think this is going. Okay, right now, you're angry, you got your fist in the air, and people are signing up, and you're going to knock the publishing industry. If you start to make a difference, they're going to want to assimilate you. Have you thought about that?
I have. I am willing. I am not willing to be assimilated. Let's put it that way. I'm willing to see this business continue on with someone else who's an individual who's going to continue to make this a rebel organization, right? I think traditional publishing is going to go the way of Blockbuster, and they don't deserve what I've got.
Excellent. All right, take that as inspiration. The rest of you, thank you.
Okay, this way.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi.
Brian Steiner of Noventum Custom Software. What I've noticed is that authors and many people involved in writing, they'll come to a software development company or a marketing company to try and fill this void that's left by not being published. And it seems like the barrier to entry has gone way down, but the costs have actually gone up. Like, people aren't getting advances or book deals, and it's a lot more competition for that. What would you say from the author's perspective? Do you think that most of these authors are profitable, or is it too early to tell, or do you think they will be? Because it's difficult, like, from my perspective, to distinguish between like a viable business and like somebody's kind of like, they just want to get their word out there, and they're not as concerned with the profitability. So I just, like, what have you seen in terms of?
So in order for an author to make it, so there are authors that are making a ton of money, like Brandon Sanderson. I mean, he does, what do you call it? Crowdfunding for his books, and he makes a ton of money. He totally is successful. The one thing that every author has to know is you cannot make bank on a single book. You have to have a series, especially because you have to advertise, you have to be on social, or at least you have to have an email list. You don't have to be on social, but you have to have an email list, because you want to advertise that first book, and if they love it, they'll buy the others, right? So you're never going to make money on just one book. So it's a long game. And really, the advice I've heard, and what I'm going to work on my next series, is you write all the books at the same time before you publish the first one, because that way a lot of people will not start reading a series until it's finished.
I get angry when
Yeah.
I'm halfway through and it's not done yet, and
Right.
then the author dies.
Right? And George R. Martin right now, everybody's like, where's the next
Do some
book?
cardio.
Yeah.
Stay in shape.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you, Sonia.
Good morning. Good morning.
Miriam Ortiz-Pino with More Than Organized. Have you thought about applying your 5-minute author framework to writing your funnels?
What do you mean?
So if you were to spend 5 minutes a day, like working on your funnel or doing the next step on your funnel, you might be done by the end of the week.
Maybe that's an interesting idea. I will try that. Yeah. Cool.
Also, I like the middle tagline.
You like the
Only
middle
short-
one?
Yeah.
The only short form podcast to get writers smarter about writing and publishing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hi.
I'm Jessica Troy, PhD in medieval studies / SEO copywriter. My question is, so you said you've been having to do a lot of fighting back against like the male gatekeepers or traditional publishers. Have you had to do any convincing of women like you who are writers who have this form, this book, and they say, but I have to go to the traditional routes, or why should I trust what you're saying versus what the traditionalists are saying? I mean, I guess like I'm just trying to see if there's like any pushback, right, from authors like you who are still but wanting to get into the published world, but they're not sure which way to go, and you're trying to convince them, or do you care about convincing someone? I guess that's another way of putting it.
Yeah. So I do care about convincing someone. I feel like there is definitely still a stigma. At this last conference I went to, it was like one panelist said something like, "Well, at least I'm not self-published," right? Right? Like, and I have some great books and then, we go through the same process as traditional publishing, editing, a great cover, great blurb, right? We do all the work. So I feel like that's one of the things I have to do with my podcast is educate people. Even at the last conference I was at in New York City, there was a woman who was self-published, totally successful. She writes books about FBI. She worked at the FBI, so she has books about how not to write a bad FBI character, right? Those kind of things. And I was talking to her because her books never showed up in the bookstore. And we think it's because she was self-published. And I tried to talk to her and I was like, oh, I heard, your books didn't show up and blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to her about self-publishing and she's like, oh, well, that's going to change. And I was thinking, oh yeah, she's going to fight the system with me. And she's like, oh, I have an agent who approached me and she wants to take my books. And I was like, that's not what I want. Right. So I feel like there's education out there. I don't hate traditional publishing. I love it when I see people get great deals, but I think people need to realize that self-publishing is not the garbage dump that it used to be, years ago. Yeah. Cool. Hi.
Hello. I'm Barbara Dawson with Purple Mulch. And I know at one of these 1 million cups, I won. I got to walk away with your books.
Yeah.
And I don't read a lot of fiction, but I read your books and I really did enjoy them, especially the one in, New Mexico and all of the,
Camel of the Gods.
that's the one. But what I wanted to share with you is a good friend of mine, he's now passed, but he's a self-made millionaire. And he would do courses on the phone. This was back in the days when there would be conference calls. He didn't do Zoom. And he self-published, I think, about 16 books. And they were all about personal growth and development and all of that. And I remember when I first met him, I thought, why are you self-publishing? Can't you do it the real way? But then it was like I got to understand really why he did that. And he would have boxes of books in his house that, all the printing. So when I met you and you said you did self-publishing, it was like, yes, it's a valid way to do things. So I don't have really a question other than just to acknowledge you for the writing that you do, for the publishing you do, and the being of who you are in pushing this idea out and saying, yes, we don't have to do it traditional way. And I really love the way you said you think publishing is going to go the way of
Blockbuster.
Yeah, it's like, yes, yeah, do it differently.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Hey.
Hey, my name is Zach Azar. I'm a software engineer here in Albuquerque. I had a question for you. I loved your presentation. I was wondering if you could speak more about those weekend writing events you were talking about.
Okay.
They sound like they were super successful. You mentioned some bestsellers came out of there, which I thought was like incredible, out of like a weekend endeavor. And it kind of reminded me of like a hackathon or makeathon that companies do that I participated in, where like engineers will work with designers to finally build and product managers to finally build the thing they thought was missing in the company. And it's super successful. And a lot of those things turn into real features. And I was curious, like, what do you think is the magic of those weekends that turns these best people into bestsellers? Like, is it the networking side? Is it like we're all hustling, working hard together side? Is it prep? What do you think it is?
So, and actually I was inspired by going to a startup weekend, right? Where you basically try to build a business in a weekend. And someone also, I think it was an intern here at FatPipe who said to me, I love what you do. This was before I started them. And she said, I love what you do, but I've always wanted to write a short story, but I wouldn't know what to do with it. And so, so the magic of the short story-a-thon is that, number one, I found that people have to publish by the end of the weekend, because if they don't, they'll never publish. I've tried to follow up with people who don't feel comfortable hitting the publish button and they don't do it. But the other magic is it's like a miniature self-publishing course. And you learn, like, the most important thing is getting reviews and sales as quickly as possible. So one of the things I teach them is, number one, while you're writing your story, you're going to go out, you're going to find people who are going to purchase it for 99 cents and give you an honest review. And that's how they make best-selling. So, and then plus, to be honest, short story market does not have a lot of competition. So that helps us hit that bestseller list. Yeah, and actually, for the writers, number one, just getting a story done is magic in itself because we're always so busy. It can be hard to find time to write. So a lot of authors sign up just to set aside the time to write. The best-selling piece is just like a extra bonus.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Adam, do you have a question for Sonia?
Yeah, thanks. So Sonia, I've got two questions, but I'm gonna ask the one that I've been asking most often first. So any plans for audiobooks?
I know, I was supposed to start this last year, wasn't I? Yes, now that I have all the equipment for the podcast, once I have recorded enough podcast episodes, I will start on some audiobooks.
Right. I appreciate that a lot. The other thing was, and so I've heard of Brandon Sanderson's crowdfunding stuff. And when you mentioned that, I got excited. So do you plan to get to that level? I mean, he has a lot of employees that work with him to make that happen. Do you have any steps or plans to get there?
I am not going to plan on crowdfunding just because I've done crowdfunding before. Actually, I crowdfunded my first book, I should say. That was just a company reached out to me about publishing my first book on their platform, which was kind of between a Kickstarter and a Tinder kind of thing. You know, the more books you sold, the more publishing companies you're connected to. Although I went with a publishing company in the beginning, but then took it back and self-published. But crowdfunding is a lot of work, especially if you're starting out without a base. You know, I have an email list, it's pretty large, but I would just rather not do a crowdfunding program. Now, if my next series of books really takes off, or this original series takes off, you know, I will hire people to help me with the work, but right now that's not on the plans.
You're going more the method, focusing on the thrillers group.
Correct.
Okay. And I just realized I broke my own guideline to introduce myself. So I'm Adam with Sparks Flow, Oxygen for Organizing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up, Diane.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you.
You too.
So partially question, partially an idea. So my background, well, I'm Finn. I'm the founder of Both And, which is a transmasculine apparel company. But my background's in writing, literary fiction. I did an MFA. And something I've noticed with the whole community I've been in, some have gone on into traditional publishing contracts, some have self-published, but there's this underlying, I almost want to say, sense of shame. There's this desire to be a part of the cool kids club. And that's just like an innate human feeling of wanting that stamp of validation or approval. And I think in some ways, the issue of self-publishing is like simply a branding issue and it's the position you take and how you talk about it. And even some of the ways that you're talking about it today felt like, no, don't listen to them, listen to me. Like, this is just as viable. This is just as good. But I think there's a shift there that can be made of whether it's branding as like the rebel outsider or not. It's not a direct comparison. It's making an argument of like, no, this is the new club. This is an entirely different thing. Whether it's part of the funnel that you make or some other resource you have to the world, I think if you can like create a case study of what is your goal? Is your goal money? Let's look at all these 10 examples of people who are able to make this amount of money from going self-publishing, whereas like traditional publishing is like a 10K advance at this point. You don't really make money. Or is it the ease of publishing? Do you want to wait 2 years before it's actually in market, or do you want to get it out there now? Is it distribution? Well, look at all these different places that can distribute your book. So I think if you can like systematically speak to all of the emotional points of why a person feels like they have to be a part of one club versus the other club, then you can start to get people to stop making that implicit comparison and just want to align with like your definitions of like. And I would say, I think business world has done a really good job of this. I don't know if you know Seth Godin. He's done an amazing job with, you know, all his microblogs and all the self-published content. But I think the business nonfiction world has done a much better job of understanding it's about building personality. It's about building an audience who values the niche content I can give to the world. And fiction hasn't yet quite figured that out. So I think there's really a space for you to grow into and lead.
Thank you. You just sparked a whole bunch of ideas.
Great.
Let me, Sue has a question
Okay.
online. Sue, would you like to ask your question? And we'll have you up, Eric.
Well, good morning, Sonia. I was more thinking, especially I love this idea of 5 minutes with you, like a short answer for people that just need to get out of their own way and finish that book.
Is that,
She wants a short
Short
answer
answer.
for writer's
Writer's
block.
block.
oh, a short answer for, okay, so my short answer for writer's block is activity. To get out of the space that you're in that's blocking you, to go for a walk, to bring a notebook and a pen, and maybe challenge yourself with, I like to just get involved in writing anything, and even like, so NYC Midnight has these competitions where they assign you a genre, an object, and oh, one other thing, and I forget what it is, but basically maybe going for a walk and then finding an object on your walk and using that in your story, and then just picking a genre out of a hat and sitting down and trying to write.
That's a cool idea. Thanks, Sonia.
You're welcome.
Eric Prince, we're all, I'm in the Frank.
There you go.
Let's see, economic development, community building, things like that. Speaking of community, and it's been sort of mentioned by a couple of different folks, I'm curious, let me take a step back. I know with the different workshops you do, you're in a way sort of building these mini communities. And I'm wondering, to the extent, we talked a little bit about crowdfunding and the need to have a community behind you for some of these different efforts. I'm wondering, is that sort of on your roadmap if you're able to staff up a bit? Because it can be really time consuming. I'm curious about how you're thinking about building community that might help you and other writers in your future publishing.
Okay, so building community, so you're asking about building community and hiring people.
Well, I'm talking more about sort of like building intentional community with the idea that those communities would help in terms of book sales and promotion.
Okay,
Like Mighty Networks, there's a handful of these different organizations that are really about building, this refers back to what Tyler was talking about last week. It's really building that marketplace in a way. So it's, it's not your totally organic community, but it's a community of purpose. And there's different aspects to that. But I'm just curious if you've thought about that at all.
well, okay, so the question is, am I building community to help each other sell their works? Sorry.
I think the first part is like, so it would be about either for the Thriller Writers Association or for you as a writer yourself, building the community of followers that, like for instance, Patreon is another platform that has sort of a community aspect built in.
Right,
They're going to hear from you. You're going to send a special message to them every once in a while. I'm wondering to what extent, it sounds like you haven't really thought about that stuff. So that was my main question.
I think I understand your question now. So my community, I have a couple of communities, actually. I have my email list of my followers that I connect to. I have my list, I have my Facebook group of my early reviewers. So these are the people who get my book for free and then, or early. They get the book early and then they'll buy the book on Amazon and leave me an early review. So that's my community.
Yeah.
But then I also have Quirky Quills, which is a community of all writers. That's basically we review each other's works. And so that's a different group outside of Women's Thriller. And then as a community, Women's Thriller writers, as a membership, we meet, we communicate, we help each other out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, might be. All
Okay.
right, cool. Thank you.
All right. Hello.
Hello. So I'm Michael McDonald, retired guy. So I have a question for you, which kind of I'm going to reverse the thing, right?
Okay.
And I'm thinking it might help simulate something. So I'm a reader of books. I read your book, well, the first one that came out, I didn't catch the second one. And I'm thinking, you're talking about self-publishing and like there's lots of stuff that's not so good out there. So as a reader, I can go through funnels that are pushed by the publishing companies and figure out like which one to choose because I don't want to put like 12 hours into a book that's crap.
Yeah.
right? So if you put your brain on, say, how would I, as a reader, find good self-published books? And the reason I want to ask that is how would you, as a self-publisher, kick into that system?
Yeah. Well, and I think the problem with that is I want readers to find good books, whether they're self-published or traditionally published. But then that it also relies on the author, because as authors, we have to get at least 40 reviews on Amazon before a stranger will generally buy our books, right? So it's up to us to get early reviews, to get those reviews on Amazon. There are organizations out there that will review your book and give it sort of an approval rating. They are so expensive. You know, Brad was talking about how costs are going up for self-published writers. So, right, so I have to hire an editor to edit my story. I have to hire a cover artist to not only design the front, but also design the back. And then I also have to advertise. And so there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So I feel like maybe that's the stand I need to take though, is here are some great self-published books, but I don't know how to differentiate them from the traditionally published.
I can see, I mean,
Yeah.
that hiring somebody to review your book, I mean, if they're good,
Yeah.
they should get paid, you know. It should take them 10 or 20 hours and to do a good job, and that's expensive.
Yeah.
Is there a way to tell if someone has self-published?
So if you're on Amazon, usually if it says something like Amazon published the book or something, it means Amazon gave them an ISBN and they probably self-published. It will say their publishing company on there if they have a publishing company. Now I publish everything through Plot Duckies, so all of mine have sort of publishing company, even though they're self-published. So it can be, and if they did the work, if they hired a great cover artist and an editor, you really shouldn't be able to tell. Yeah.
This is really interesting because I read a lot and I never care if it's self-published or published. I run across it from reviews or people talking about it. And I feel like on the one hand, you want to make sure you're talking about self-publishing, and on the other hand, you want to just talk about publishing. Which is that fine line for sure. But I think there's ways too to leverage, like what Eric was saying, like what do you have a process in place to get on Goodreads? Do you have a thing in place to get those first 40 reviews? Do you have, like all those different pieces of the puzzle?
Yeah.
That the more reach you have with your own list to get people from your list into those other areas that funnel back to Amazon to actually make the purchase or whatever other platforms you might be on. It just seems like there's a way to systematize that a little bit that would free up some time. And do you get the information from Amazon of who bought so that you can add them to your list?
Oh,
No.
no. That would be Amazon giving me their customer info. They wouldn't do that. No, I can go.
Is there some way to like scrape from reviews or anything from outside sources that you could reply to the review and say, are you allowed to, I just don't know. Can you reply to a review as the publisher?
As authors, we are told not to reply to people's reviews on our, especially if it's a bad review, you stay away from that. But
You can't even say thanks for the review or something like that.
you really shouldn't. On Goodreads, they say we can. And I have commented on people's reviews on Goodreads.
Yeah.
And I have tried to reach out to people, see if they're interested in getting on my early reviewer list or anything like that. Yeah.
And or do you at least put your website or a landing page in the book, like on the last page or something?
So actually in the book, especially if you're self-published, you have to have what's called your post content, which is number one. The first thing they see after they read the story is leave me a review. And if they're on ebook, they have a link that goes right to the review page.
Right.
And then the next page is, I love this. Oh, and there's the next chapter of book 2. and then a link to book 2 if they want it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure you're
Oh, yeah.
leveraging all
There
those
is definitely
things.
a call to action in there.
Back to.
Okay.
So, no, I really caught on to the, like, don't respond to the reviews thing, because, you know, I've written a lot for SEO and helping companies boost their SEO, and it always says that when you do reputation management, you should respond to all reviews, no matter if they're bad or good. So how do you then build a brand if you can't respond to reviews, say on Amazon, which seems to be like your primary go-to for publishing and for getting those customers? So how do
Well,
you build your brand?
So there is on Amazon, if you've published a book, there is an author page that you can create. Not everyone knows that they can create an author page. And so their author page, so mine is connected to my website. Anytime I publish a blog, it publishes to Amazon. So people can follow me on Amazon, and it has my links to my website and all that stuff. So I think that is probably the best way to build a brand on Amazon.
See. Adam, ask your last question. I think that's it. And we'll stop after that. Go for it, Adam.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, so you were talking about publishing through plot duckies, and I don't know if you ever talked about how someone could do that. It wasn't when I did the workshop before. I don't think it was a publishing company, so I don't think it was done then. What's
Correct.
the plan now?
So our company looks for books with strong female characters. And it doesn't have to be a thriller, because Plot Duckies is a separate company from WTWA. And if anyone's interested, look up plotduckies.com, and all the information's on the page. We have a very simple one-page contract. Either one of us could cancel it at any time, and right, because that's how I feel about publishing, right? You need to be able to get in and out if you need to.
Thank you.
Now, although I should mention, we are different than other companies in that we do not charge an upfront fee, which is really a no-no to me. But what we do is we make money back. We basically give you an invoice that shows how much we spent on creating your book, the editing, the cover, all that, and the time spent publishing. And basically, we're looking to make money back from your book as it's getting sold. You still make royalties. But then once we get paid back, then we'll give you even more royalties from your sales.
So even though, like, just for example, I'm a guy writer, right? And I write about a gal it has to be a strong character. Then you'd be interested in like publishing a book I wrote.
Absolutely. We have our latest book is a epic sci-fi by Ronan Romero, and his main character is a strong female character.
Gracias.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm sure we all learned a lot about the nuts and bolts of this, and I had no idea there was so much to it. So thanks very much. So it's my pleasure to ask you New Mexico's official state question, red or green.
So interestingly enough, I have a long answer for that.
That's good.
So RollerCon is coming up next week, and at RollerCon there's classes, but there's also a lot of games, roller derby games, and they're all themed. And so one of the games is actually green chili versus red chili. And I am in the red chili team.
Okay. All right. And what can the community do for you?
Well, if anyone here knows a literary lawyer, I would love to have one in my back pocket, in my connections, whatever. Because I know someone who's trying to get out of a Vanity publishing contract, and she's looking for one that she can trust. So if anybody knows a literary lawyer, please connect me.
Wow, that is an unusually specific.
I know, right?
But sometimes those
One
work.
thing, yes.
So thanks again. Thank you again.
I don't think I've got anything special this week.
Nothing special. All right, I think I saw a couple new faces. If you're new here, never been to 1 Million Cuts, please raise your hand. Come on up.